Morning, good afternoon, good evening. I think many Zimbabweans out there are getting really sick and tired of Zanu PF propaganda. Zanu PF is a party of corrupt, incompetent, and murderous thugs with an insatiable hunger for power. The country is a failed state because we found ourselves stuck with a corrupt and incompetent regime. It has managed to rig elections these last 45 years to stay in power. And yet, again and again, we have heard the likes of Chris Mutsangwa try to portray Zanu PF as the most exemplary political party with the most exemplary leaders this side of the grave. Sickening. A few weeks ago, Mutsangwa was trying to explain, or rather to justify, why Zanu PF was haunting the Blessed Geza and had detained Blessed Mshanga for interviewing Geza when he made his demands that Zanu PF must go. Chris Msangwa was the one who explained that as much as Blessed Geza was saying what the war veterans, including himself, had said a few months earlier and ultimately forced Mugabe to go. What Geza could not repeat is because there's the difference between Mugabe and Mnangagwa is that Mugabe was trying to subvert the country's constitution by imposing himself and his family as a dynasty on the nation. Mnangagwa, on the other hand, he upholds the constitution. And Geza is trying to remove him unconstitutionally. Of course, it was a lot of rubbish. When Mnangagwa and Chiwenga removed Mugabe in 2017 following the military coup, was that constitutional? As much as Chiwenga wanted people believe that he was upholding the constitution, it was all nonsense. Where in that constitution does it say the army can stage a military coup? Yes, the regime tried to get the likes of Justice George Chiweshe to say the 2017 military coup was justified and constitutional. But he did never quoted the chapter and verse where it said that, because there's no such chapter and verse. The truth of the matter is, Zanu PF is a party of corrupt, incompetent, and murderous thugs whose insatiable hunger for power is what has landed us into this mess. And try to portray it as anything else is a lie. Here is Mtsangwa trying to justify their own internal fights, this time fighting to stop the businessman Kudata Kwirei from joining the central committee of the party.
Don't attempt to use money or cars or what. Saka ukatenga vemuHarare province, woenda futi unotenga vekubulawayo, woenda futi unotenga vekuAmutare, vese uchivapa motikari. Uchienda uchinotenga vekumaCentral, uchienda uchinotenga vekuMat North, unotenga kuMash West, iwe Mash East, uchingotenga. Ini ndinotaura iyo mari yandikutaura yakabva pano pabuilding. Because this is where that money was created. We have no illusions about where people got their money from. Because in Ian Smith's time, hapana vanhu vanga vane mari dzakararo. Dzakabva kune Zanu PF. So we know where money comes from. It comes from this building. Don't think we don't know the origin of money making in Zimbabwe. Tinokuziya pano ndopainobva. Saka kana tichiziya mwena wemari yacho kwainobva, don't try to use the same money against this party or its population or its voting public. Inokupandukira mari iyoyo. I want to be very candid with you. Because toziya kuti inobva papi? Inobva pano ndopakacreatwa mari vanhu vese ava. Dzanga dziri tsuro mazuva evarungu. Vane mari vese ava. Vakaitwa neZanu PF. So the first thing they should do is to respect the party which made them be what they are, and not try to use the money whose origin is the stewardship of this party and the way it has run this economy. Then you try to spin that money and boomerang, make it boomerang against that party. No, it won't work. This I can assure you, it won't work. And I'm speaking exactly as the spokesperson of the party. I want the population of Zimbabwe to be confident that the Zimbabwe as Zanu PF as a mass party will not compromise on the integrity of the vote as the only way we express leadership in this country.
Well, let's get that clear. Zanu PF has never respected the ordinary Zimbabweans. Never. From way back in 1980, as much as the Lancaster House Agreement said that all parties would withdraw their freedom fighters from the field during the campaign period, Zanu PF did not withdraw its freedom fighters. Many of them were left in the field with a clear instruction to tell the people that if Zanu PF does not win those elections, the Bush war would continue. The people voted to end the Bush war in 1980. And 3 years in power in 1983, Zanu PF launched the Kukurawundi massacre. The primary purpose of that operation was to force the only other political party in the country, PF ZAPU, that posed a serious political challenge to Zanu PF's iron rule, to give up. And they finally did in 1987 with the signing of the Unity Accords, which cleared the deck as far as Mugabe was concerned to impose the de facto one-party state. That is what has ruled the country ever since. It took SADC a lot of pressure pile pressure on Zanu PF to force the regime to hold anything near free, fair, and credible elections. And that happened in 2008. And we all know what happened next. When the election results were coming out, and Zanu PF was waking up to the reality that it was losing that election, whilst other leaders like Didmas Mutasa accepted the results, and it is said that Mugabe himself also accepted defeat. Mnangagwa and Chwenga did not accept that defeat. They moved in, booted out Zek, and took over the whole electoral process.
2008 patakaita ma-elections pakaposa papinda Tsvangirai ndandiri election agent ya president. Ma-results abuda tiri party headquarters vamutasa vanga vari secretary vedu ve-administration vamutasa muripi ndafona ndiri kwarusapi komogwenda kwarusapi seka ma-results achibuda kudai vanga aiwa zvako izvo Mnangagwa ndezvako endaenda kumusha ofisi vanga vabisa zvinhu zvavo zvose watofunga kuti zani yadini yaparara. President ofona zvakamira sei kati ndomamira zvakaita takatodini kateda sei manje mama ndikati abvudzai baba nditaurira baba gadzirai politburo cabinet musarangarira zvimwe zivi gadzirai chi cabinet asina kuda kuti muzive kuti 2008 ma-results abuda vamutasa vakatiza.
As a country we face a generational transition. Vana vesa vari kuma below 35 they are crying out for help. The country is in a mess. Arusuru, we know we are inheriting a mess. We know this country has been left with nothing.
I'm assuring you that starting from tomorrow, you'll see a different nation from what you have seen or read on the news about these results and everything. Where we are going ahead there, the situation will be very different. What we said to our people, they could not see with their own eyes. We are going to act as we see it fit. We are prepared to go the whole distance.
We cannot pretend, and we must never forget, that Zanu PF is a party of thugs. Their love for power, for absolute power, is insatiable. And as long as Zimbabwe remains a de facto one-party state, a pariah state, the country is going nowhere. What we are seeing from the likes of Mtsangwa is just propaganda. This is a regime, this is a group of individuals who believe they have the divine right to rule the country and will stop at nothing to impose themselves on the country. The truth of the matter is, we in Zimbabwe have to face the rhetorical question that we should have asked ourselves when we decided to go into the armed struggle. What kind of leaders will the armed struggle throw up? And the follow-up question, will those be the kind of men and women who would want to rule the country? I think Zimbabwe has given the world the answer to those two rhetorical questions. And we in Zimbabwe have got to wrestle with that reality. Zanu PF is a party of thugs. They believe they won the liberation war, and that gives them the divine right to rule the country. And so we find ourselves in a situation where the regime will stop at nothing to impose itself. And meanwhile, when it suits them, they'll come out with their propaganda in leaders waving the flag and spreading the rumor that they are a party of very principled individuals who passionately care about the freedom, the rights, law and order in the country, when in reality, they only say those things if it helps their propaganda. But if any of those things are threatening their hold on power, their iron grip on power, they are discarded. Zanu PF has never cared about Povo, the ordinary people, and their suffering. The regime is preparing to go into 2028 elections with not even one token reform implemented. Yes, SADC and the AU condemned the 2023 elections as flawed and illegal, but the regime has since discarded that and will go into 2028 elections with not even one token reform implemented. Rig those elections and impose their rule. This is the nightmare we are facing. We had the opportunity to implement the reforms during the 2008-2013 GNU. We wasted it. And now getting to get meaningful change in Zimbabwe is not going to be easy. The infighting within Zanu PF, personally, I don't take any sides to it. It is not for the goat to side with one hyena or the other when they're fighting. Because whichever hyena wins, prevails, it will love to have got to celebrate its victory. How are we going to end the Zanu PF dictatorship? How are we going to stop Zanu PF rigging the 2028 elections, getting legitimacy, and continuing the dictatorship? That is the challenge before us. And meanwhile, I think it is appropriate that we should tell the likes of Mtsangwa that we find his continued propaganda lies trying to portray Zanu PF as a party that cares about the rule of law, about the suffering of the masses. It is an insult to the long-suffering people of Zimbabwe. Think about it. Thank you, and have a good afternoon.